Hello, today I'm going to be taking the Russo family and moving them from where they live in Windenburg to Oasis Springs. And in this process, I ended up fully rebuilding their houses and everything. So the first thing I started with was their family restaurant. So I'm just going through and taking all of the necessary things, and then I go and rebuild the restaurant in a more Mediterranean style. But I think it's important that I talk about the family now. So they are one of my original families that I made before I started this channel. So I've already done in my first video how I was explaining how I was gonna kind of go through the gameplay, and I was doing it in playing stages kind of. I've already gone through and played this family, but I just felt like I wanted to move them from Windenburg to Oasis Springs because they're kind of a very Italian family, and I just thought that the Mediterranean architecture would suit them a lot more, if that makes sense. Now, I will say, before I really get into their lore and everything, that this was my first time attempting to build at all with the Mediterranean kind of architecture style. One thing I'm really liking about this channel is that it's kind of a way to document my progress in terms of building, because the brownstones that I made a few videos ago were quite literally the second thing I've ever built. So I don't know, I just think it's cool because I'm really starting from scratch here. I'm not used to building at all. Anyways, I'm gonna get into their lore. So the Russo family started with the father Victor and his son Theodore, and in terms of their vibes, I thought it would be kind of a fun little play to have this gym rat dad with this nerd son. So that's kind of their vibe. But they are really close. It's not a problem. Victor's not disappointed that Theodore isn't athletic or whatever. They are super, super close. Really quick, in terms of the build, I struggled a lot with windows, and I will say I'm not fully happy with how the restaurant turned out, especially in the window department. So I might whoa, I just messed up. I might go and make some changes in the future. Sorry, I'm just still so not used to not editing my words down, I don't know, so I just took a really long pause there, which I shouldn't have, but I will get used to it. Anyways, so back to Victor and Theodore. Yeah, and so Theodore is a child in this game, and Victor's a young adult, and so I was kind of thinking about it, and I was like, man, if we hypothetically were to assign ages, right, I would say Theodore's probably around 10, and Victor is around 27, 28, and so I decided that it was a teen-parent situation, which then got me thinking about Theodore's mom, because it was the single dad with the son, I was like, okay, cool, but then who's his mom, especially since it was a teen parent situation. So I decided to add a little bit of drama that she died. RIP. In terms of real life, I don't know, maybe she died of some illness or something, I don't know. In terms of the game, I had her die of laughter because she is just cool and I like her. So I made her as a sim. I didn't actually end up showing her in this video because I forgot, to be honest, and it wasn't really necessary because she doesn't live anywhere, but her grave, at least for the time being, because I haven't gone in and made a cemetery or anything, which I'm planning on doing at some point in the far future, but her grave is on Victor and Theodore's little property. So you can because she doesn't live in a house or whatever, but you can summon her however, and she can come visit. I don't know if I said her name yet. Her name's Ileana Medrano. Yeah, so I don't have much, like, lore about her. I didn't make her family or anything, so that can be kind of up to interpretation. Maybe they were supportive of it and were fine. Maybe they weren't and they kicked her out. I don't know. That's up to my imagination and yours, I guess. I don't know. But in terms of Victor's family, because I'm sure most people would not be super thrilled that their child got someone pregnant, Victor's parents are Valentina and Enzo Russo, and he has an older sister named Sophia. And they were very supportive, actually. And Enzo is like a businessman, and Valentina technically owns the family restaurant. It's just a little Italian restaurant, and my kind of thinking behind it is, you know, in like Glee, how they go and hang out at Breadsticks all the time? That was kind of my thought with Russo's, which is what I call the restaurant. Really boring and generic. But that was kind of my idea, is that like I can just have all of my other Sims like go hang out at Russo's. But anyways, in the speed build right now, I was just like kind of transferring, like I was making Valentina own this lot rather than the one in Windenburg. Anyways, okay, back to the lore. So they have a lot of money because they own this restaurant, and Enzo is a big business guy. And so what they did is, next to their house, I'm pretty sure it's next to their houses. I don't actually remember. Okay, hold on. So the 3 lots that I'm building their houses on right now are all next to each other. I don't remember if the restaurant is in the middle or not. So I will figure that out as this video goes on. But anyways, they bought a small little like house / property. Maybe they built the house, I don't know, kind of next to theirs, or maybe it's next to the restaurant, I don't remember, but in the same area, for Victor and Ileana to raise Theodore. And that's kind of their vibe. They were super supportive, and they're a very like close-knit family. Yeah. Sophia Russo, who's Victor Russo's older sister, is also a young adult, but to me she's like 4-ish years older. Really quickly in the speed build, I'm pretty sure this is what actually took me the longest, is furnishing the restaurant, because it ended up being, first of all, a completely different layout, and second of all, a lot bigger than the old one that I had in Windenburg, so I really struggled with furnishing it, because the way I had it in Windenburg was on the ground floor I had all of the small tables. I think I had like 4 tables for 2 and 1 table for 4, and then upstairs I had 2 tables for 6 and 1 table for 8, so it was like big tables upstairs, little tables downstairs. But in this one I don't remember how I ended up doing it, but I don't know, it was huge, and it's just kind of a different vibe, to be honest. But I really struggled with this, actually. Anyways, okay. So, Sophia Russo, Victor's sister, is really cool. I love her. She's a conservationist, and in my mind she's very politically aware. Part of that is because, first of all, her younger brother was a teen parent. Second of all, she is a lesbian. And she has a girlfriend who I didn't actually make, but it was one of like the randomly generated Sims, so she's technically not a townie. So in my grand scheme of the save file, I'm gonna keep her, because I don't know, even though I didn't make her, she's also not like a townie, you know. Anyways, and her name's Areline, I don't know, whatever. And she's cool. She has a horse, because the game is just kind of like that. And she used to live in Strangerville, but I guess because of neighborhood stories, she ended up moving to, I think, Willow Creek. But the house is definitely too big for her income, so at some point we're gonna make her a house, and everything. Right now, Sophia still lives at home. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. I mean, their house is big enough that it's not really a problem. But with the girlfriend, the way that they met, again, I feel like I keep saying with, like, the lore here that, like, oh, I haven't really decided this, but, like, literally, some stuff is kind of left up in the open. So, Araline, I'm gonna call her Araline. Araline? Yeah, I'll say Araline. Okay. She is a waitress at the family restaurant, and so either Sophia met her because she's a waitress at the restaurant, or Sophia got her hired at the restaurant because Araline is her girlfriend. I'm not sure which way it went. Like, either they met outside of the restaurant, and then that's how she got the job at the restaurant, or they met because she had a job at the restaurant. I don't know. But they're together. I don't really have Araline's whole vibe yet down, or, like, any of her lore or anything. So, again, if any of you would like to leave suggestions for stuff regarding Sophia Russo's girlfriend, that would be cool. And, I mean, I'll even take stuff for, like, Ileana's parents and possible siblings, because I haven't even thought about that at all, but I thought, you know, maybe I should make them, especially if I'm going to completely, like, remake the whole Sims universe, like, make this a proper save file like I'm planning. I feel like they should be there somewhere. Maybe there's drama. I will also think about that. Like, I'm totally open to suggestions, but I will, either if I don't get suggestions, or don't like the suggestions, or if I come up with another idea that I just, like, feel really attached to, anyways, what am I even trying to say? I'm gonna do my own thing as well, suggestions or not, but suggestions are always appreciated, if that makes sense. So that's kind of like the Russo extended family lore, I guess. Now with Victor and Theodore themselves. Victor, like I said, he's kind of a gym rat, but I didn't want him to have the body. He's in the athlete career, and because I was, like, playing them, he is, like, maxed in that career, and he's a Hall of Famer. I had him choose, like, the whatever, like, the pro athlete thing instead of bodybuilder. And so that's cool. Theodore, in my head, when he grows up, might be a politician. Either a politician or a lawyer. I haven't fully decided. Right now, quickly, I took a lot of time and went and, like, picked the menu of all Italian everything, which kind of took a while. And a couple things I was like, that sounds Italian, but it could also just be European, so I had to look up a couple things if you see me, like, pausing. But yeah, and Theodore right now, he's, like I said, a nerd, so he's in Scouts, which he's fully done, and he's a very, very good student. He also likes to sing. He's a very good singer, so that's kind of his vibe. Now, if you watched my last video, where I made the little apartments for Lena Stark and Haley Broughton, and I was talking about Portia Carmichael and Devin Scott, and so Portia, I will refresh your memory if you did watch that video, and then if you didn't watch that video, I will just explain. So, last week, I made a little apartment for these two models that I have, because one of the Sims, like, one of my original Sim families, I'm not going to get into their lore right now. At some point I'm going to remake their house, and probably move them somewhere else, but the mom of the family, her mom, well, her parents, actually, she's estranged from, but her mom is a model, and so I was taking, like, some lore pictures of her mom modeling, and I just needed a couple other, like, models to be in the background, so that, like, they just didn't feel so empty. And so that's where those models came from. But, so the estranged model mom is Portia Carmichael, and then her daughter, is Devin Scott. Now, the reason why this is important, so Theodore's best friend and future love interest is Devin Scott's daughter, Catherine Scott. Very complicated, especially since I'm not, like, showing them at all, but I do have, like, plans for Theodore's future. But they are also best friends, and they're not gonna get together until they're, like, probably young adults, maybe even adults, perhaps. Catherine is gonna date someone else during high school. I don't know about Theodore's kind of dating plans. My original idea, before I decided to completely remake my Little Sims universe, was to have Catherine date Lucas Munch in high school, but if I'm, like, pretty much restarting, then Lucas Munch isn't going to exist. I think I actually might have talked about this in my first video, where, like, the reason why right now I decided that I need to redo everything right now is because if I were to have Catherine Scott date Lucas Munch in high school, and then at some point I get around to remaking the whole world, then it's like she dated someone that didn't exist, and I have to retroactively make a boyfriend, like an ex-boyfriend. Like, I just don't want to do all that, so I decided to just start remaking everything now. But she and Theodore are best friends and also partners in crime, so they pull some pranks and stuff. She's also very smart. She is gonna be, I think, a lawyer. Either a lawyer or a politician. That's the thing, is one of them is gonna be a lawyer and one of them is gonna be a politician. I don't know who yet. That's kind of the plan there. And then the problem is like, again, all of his friends, for the most part, are, like, townies, and so I don't want to sit here and be like, and he's friends with these people, because these people aren't going to exist for very long. But he is friends with this girl, Mariko, and she's not a townie. She was randomly generated, which is cool. So I will keep her. I don't have, like, her lore down, but she is best friends with Elsa from Windenburg, who I'm gonna delete, unfortunately. And so, like, I'm gonna have to remake her friend, and pretty much Catherine and Theodore, and then Mariko and Elsa are kind of like a little foursome with, like, two duos, like, two sets of best friends, and then they're all friends together. But obviously that will have to be changed a little bit. I mean, I'm just gonna make her a new best friend, pretty much. At some point in the future, because in my head Mariko plays soccer, so I'm gonna make a little soccer club and have some kids join it, I don't know. Also, currently, Theodore is in a club that I called Nerd Herd, which I'm gonna have to remake because it's like him, Alexander Goth, and Imran Watson, and pretty much the idea, it's mostly gonna be used in, like, high school and stuff, but the idea is that it's, like, their little study group. Now, I don't know whether Catherine should join that or not, because she's not, like, a stereotypical nerd, but she is very, very smart. My only concern is that I don't want her and Theodore to just be, like, way too together all the time. Like, they are best friends and partners in crime, and will get together in the future, but I don't know if I want them to be in the study group together as well. But here I went and cast to show you the different people. I changed Enzo's eyes because I felt like the blue eyes were way too much in my face. Which the problem is, like, some of the pictures, like the family pictures I've taken, he's obviously still has, like, blue eyes and they're kind of in my face, so I don't know, I might go and change them back. But those were his outfits. Sorry I didn't really talk about them, but I feel like very casual, rich dad. And then this is Valentina. She's got some cute fits. Yeah, I don't know, I like her. And then this is Sophia. So this is also a very short family. I do have height sliders on. And I made Sophia, I'm pretty sure, like, literally the shortest a sim could be. And she has a cow plant tattoo and then also a dragonfly tattoo on her back. And I don't really know what to call her style, but, like, I feel like she definitely has one. So that's that family. And then I decided to go make their house. And so, because my thing with their house in Windenburg, again, I didn't build this house, but I completely remodeled the inside, is it was just way too big and I didn't need any of it. At some point I had gone through and saved literally all of the rooms in the house to, like, my library thing. Like, I didn't upload them to the gallery or anything, but I had them. And so what I did is I went back, to Oasis Springs, and I kind of built, like, a shell for a house that actually more so fit the size of their family and whatever. And then I went through and kind of put some of the rooms in, or took items from the rooms and put it in, because I really love their kitchen. I ended up having to downsize, but, like, it's okay. And there also didn't end up being room for the guest bedroom that they had, but I felt like that was okay. I don't know. Again, it was just, like, their house was huge, and I don't like having huge houses in The Sims for not super huge families, because I don't feel like I have a lot to put in the houses. I thought Sophia's room was cool, because, again, she's a conservationist, so she has a little, like, she had a garden in her room, which was really cute, but it just also was so insanely unrealistic. Like, it was not at all realistic, so I did end up giving her a backyard garden as well, which I have been running into a glitch that's really freaking me out. Not really freaking me out, like, my game isn't bugging, but I know other people have been having this issue where gardening just kind of isn't working. I keep having her go water the plants, and she'll walk over and then just stand there, and then it, like, cancels and she walks away. Like, she just cannot do gardening. I do have to say, at some point, I am gonna have to do a crazy 50-50 on my mods, because I have... If you don't know what, really quick, if you don't know what the 50-50 method is, it's like a way to find broken custom content. Really quickly, I had installed one of my mods incorrectly, so I had to leave the game, and then I'm coming back because I installed it correctly. But yeah, so, like, if you have broken mods, it's a way, like, the 50-50 method is a way to figure out which one it is, and pretty much you take half of your mods out of the mods folder, test the game, see if it works, and if it does, like, yeah, if it does, then you take the other 50, like, 50%, half of the mods that you didn't put in the game, split that in half, and so then you're putting some of that in the game, and pretty much you just, like, keep narrowing it down by putting half back in your game over and over until you're left with, like, the one broken mod. I don't know. I feel like it's hard to explain, but, like, it's really easy. It's just super time consuming, and I hate it. But I've been getting a last exception notification for a really long time, which to me is fine as long as it's not impacting my gameplay at all, which it hasn't been until recently. I think I might have gotten a bad script mod, because what will happen is I just have a bunch of Sims, like, pull up on my lot, and they just, like, T-pose glitch, and they can't move. I try resetting them, it doesn't work, and obviously I don't want to, like, kill them. Like, that's mean, even though I'm gonna delete most of them anyways, but it's just, like, I need them to not do that, because it's not just happening with, like, townies and NPCs, it's happening to my Sims. Like, I remember, actually my next video, I think, depending on how good the audio comes out, is gonna be a gameplay video where I did, like, the Blast from the Past thing, and two of my Sims from two different families were having the T-pose glitch on different lots, and so, like, I can't have that happen to my Sims, so at some point I just really have been putting it off. I need to go through and do the 50-50 method and actually get it to the point where I don't have a last exception broken CC notification, because I've still been, like, I feel like, because what I do is when I have a specific glitch, like, for example, this T-posing thing, when a specific glitch happens, I will get rid of whatever mod is causing that glitch and then continue, but I'll still have like a last exception message about something. But I think it's best if I just take a million years and go through and get to the point where I'm not having that message anymore. So yeah, quite unfortunate. But now I went through and refurnished their whole house. I definitely like the way that these houses turned out more than the ones in Windenburg. I really like these. But yeah, I'm not gonna say I'm tired of speed builds because I enjoy speed building, but I definitely, like, this isn't just about speed builds, it's about my save file as a whole. And so, like, I do gameplay and I do casts and stuff, and I've just been doing a lot of speed building because that's what I've been into lately. First of all, like, getting better at building, but second of all, with pretty much remaking the whole Sims universe. I don't know, speed building is pretty necessary in that, but I do want to switch it up. So I think, hopefully, if my audio's good, because let me explain that really quick too. So I'm recording this audio with like the Apple little like earbud mic, but the, like, okay, because these are a really cheap pair of like headphones, like really cheap, but it's one of like the kind of, you know, like the Apple earbud mics. It's not Apple though. But I hate the headphones. Like, I use this for better mic quality, but I don't like the headphones. And then my other headphones, the mic is fine, but I can't like keep it, because it's attached to the headphones, and so I can't like keep it far enough away from my mouth, low-key, and so like there's kind of a lot of like breathing. So I don't know. But yeah, so like, and I can't, even if the headphone thing, like the fact that these are a really cheap set of headphones, even if that didn't bother me so much, I can't play with one hand. And so like, cause I'm holding the mic right now, so like I can't sit here and hold the mic while I play. So I have to use the other headphones, but then the audio quality is kind of iffy depending on how loud I'm talking. I don't know, it's a whole thing. So depending on that audio, whatever. Very long explanation just to say that depending on the audio, my next video might be gameplay, might not be. Again, depending on the audio, but I filmed it and it's with the Russo family and I just did the blast from the past thing. I do have a question, because in that video, and I'm gonna ask this question again in that video probably, wait, did I? Probably, because I went on Reddit and was like looking stuff up. So I used the weather machine because I needed to fix a computer, because one of the things was like blah blah blah, do this thing with a computer, and I had happened to be at a library, and so I just used one of the library computers and it broke the computer, and so then the next thing is fix the computer, except it's like a public computer, so I can't fix that, you know? So I went home and I was gonna use my house computer, except I was like, it's gonna take me so long to sit here and break my house computer just to fix it. So they were like, oh, put it out in the rain. Well, I moved them, like I'm doing exactly in this video, I moved them to Oasis Springs where it's the desert and it doesn't rain. So I got the stupid weather machine, right, and I set it to rain, and I put my computer out there, and it broke and everything was fine, we fixed it. My issue is, it hasn't stopped raining, and I'm just wondering how long that takes, because I've looked up, like, how long does it take for the weather machine to stop having it rain, or like how long does my setting the weather machine to something, like, when does that stop? And they were like, you can use the weather machine to make it stop, and it's like, okay, I'm not trying to set it to clear always, necessarily. Like, I thought that the weather machine was, like, temporary, like, I don't know, for a day it'll rain or whatever. Like, but did I just permanently set the weather to that? Like, how do I don't know, how do I make it go back to just like the weather does what it wants? Help. Anyways, so this is Valentina and Enzo's room, and it has like a little study for Enzo to do like his business stuff, and then I did the kitchen, dining, and living rooms as well, which clearly there was a lot of downsizing, but I think it turned out cute. And then I did Valentina and Enzo's bathroom, which is actually just the downstairs bathroom. Preferably, I would have wanted 3 bathrooms for this house. Like a toilet room, and then Valentina and Enzo's bathroom, and then Sophia and Victor's bathroom. But me being me, I did not save enough space for that. So the downstairs bathroom, like, it has a bath in it. Like, it's like the, I guess, like, guest bathroom, to be honest, because it's downstairs. But it's also their actual bathroom, if that makes sense. Like, I felt like that was a really weirdly repetitive way to say that, but yeah. And then I did the little hallway and stuff, and you can see I'm putting a ton of family photos up. Once I go through and like remake the whole Sims universe, as I keep saying I'm gonna do, and need to like really get on, I'm gonna go through and retake some of these pictures, because pretty much all of these are just with family. Like, there's a lot of baby pictures of Victor and Sophia and stuff, but obviously at some point I'm hoping to give like Valentina and Enzo like friends or whatever. Like, there will be more people for them to have pictures with, and so it won't be like so aggressively family based. So some of these in a way are just kind of placeholders, but yeah, so we will see. I want my next video to be a gameplay video if it ends up sounding okay, which we'll see. But you know what? I will promise you right now, my next video will not be a speed build. It will be something else, whether that's Cass or gameplay or making lore for somebody. It will be something that isn't a speed build, because I've done 3 speed builds in a row and I feel like I'm tweaking out, and I just want to do something different. So yeah, I don't know, but again, this is kind of one of my main families. I think I started with, hold on, I need to count. I had 1, 2, 3, 4. I started with 5 main families, and this was the 5th one that I made. So yeah. And by family, I wasn't even talking about like extended family. I'm just talking about like parents and children in one house, not including grandparents and aunts and everything. Which actually, this family, like me doing lore for this family, is kind of how the save file started. I said this in my first video, because I started with one family, the Rivers family, which is who the save file is named after, and they have 3 kids, and so then I wanted to go and make love interests for each of the kids, and then I was like, okay, well, not every love interest is going to be an only child, and so then I went and made some siblings, and so then I made Catherine Scott, who's a child, while everyone else was like toddlers or infants, and so I was like, okay, let's make her a love interest, and so then I made Theodore Russo. And so then that was kind of that, and then I was going through and I was playing the Russo family, and then I was like, yeah, hold on, who's his mom? And so then I kind of came up with this lore, and then I made Sophia Russo, I made the restaurant and all this stuff, and then this is exactly how I got to the realization that, like, wow, I'm actually kind of making a save file, is when I made Auraline, I was like, okay, hold on, I just made my main family's love interests, older sister's love interests, aunt's girlfriend, which I said that in my first video, but quite literally I took one of the Rivers family kids, and it's their love interest, who's Catherine Scott's brother, and so then I made Catherine Scott, the older sister, her love interest, Theodore Russo's aunt, Sophia Russo's girlfriend, Arline. And so, like, I was just like, I am so lost in the sauce, far away from the original plot, that, like, I just need to, like, I was just like, man, this is a save file, so let me just, like, do that, you know? And that's pretty much how I got to where I am today. I do have to say, when I'm doing all of the stuff for kind of the first 5 families that I made, you might be like, man, nothing's wrong with these families, like, they're all perfect and happy and whatever, because that's how I like to play my Sims. But I do have to say, since I've decided to remake my whole Sims universe, I have kind of a second branch, you could say, going on with the Hargrove family. I have a lot of lore, and I have all of the families that they're going to be kind of connected to mapped out in my notes. So, like, I don't know, it's kind of like branches, and those families have some, like, kind of messed up stuff. I'm gonna get the basemental drugs mod. There's gonna be stuff going on there. But I'm not gonna go and change any of the lore that I made regarding my first 5 families, which I know it's probably not realistic for 5 families that are kind of all intertwined to be, like, all perfect and happy, but I like it, and they are my families and my Sims, and that's how I originally intended them to be, and I don't want to go back and change things to make it more realistic, because although this is a save file, it wasn't meant to be, like, realistic originally. It's kind of becoming that way, but, like, you know what I'm saying. I don't want to go back and change what I've already made. Yeah, so I was kind of struggling with Sophia Russo's pictures because she loves to take pictures of stuff, which actually is just kind of me loving to take pictures of stuff. So, I don't know. I was struggling with that. And then, oh my god, I was tweaking out because she has this Polaroid wall in her, like, bedroom garden. And at some point, I don't remember if I already did it or not, I think I might be doing it now. Yeah, I went and I took all of the Polaroids from her wall, and I put them in the household inventory, and I went back, and because they're modded, they weren't there, and I was like, oh my god, no. But then I remembered that I had saved her room to my library, and so I just put the garden down, and then the Polaroids were up, so then I just moved them from one wall to another, because they were in the inventory. But, yeah, I don't know. These families are going to be nice, and happy. Obviously, some of the extended families have issues, like, I mean, and there are some things that, like, I don't know, Ileana Medrano is dead. Also, Devin Scott, who, yeah, I know you haven't met her, so you kind of don't know who I'm talking about, but, like, she is estranged from her parents, and there is lore and plot and stuff there. But kind of, like, the main core families, like, all of the parents and the children of my main 5 families, not including, like, the parents' parents and the parents' siblings, the parents and the children are all very, very close and get along very well. And I'm gonna keep it that way, but that is not the case with some other families that I'm thinking of, and I would definitely, again, appreciate any lore suggestions. Like, even for families I haven't made, if you're just like, oh hey, this is a cool idea, let me know. I will take any suggestions, because, again, I was not intending to make this a save file, and so it's going to be very difficult for me to take what was originally just my main family, and then the 4 other kind of side families that they would be involved with, and instead making this into a whole save file. I was not prepared to have the ideas for that, if you know what I mean. So, like, literally any suggestions are always good, even if it's for families I haven't made yet. Like, I don't know, because I want suggestions about Araline's lore, I want suggestions... I just called her Araline. I don't know what I like better, Araline or Araline. I need to think about that. But I want suggestions for her lore. I want suggestions for Lena Stark and Haley Broughton from my last video. That would be great as well. I know I said that then too. But even, again, for Sims I haven't made, if you're just like, this would be cool, or I want to see a Sim with, like, this kind of vibe, okay, got you. Let me make a Sim for that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, quite literally any suggestions are good with me. And much appreciated. So, I did make Victor's room from when he was in high school. Which, again, he just had some kind of, like, gym equipment and whatevs. Yeah, and so then here I went through and put all of her, her being Sophia, I put all of her Polaroids up on her wall. Oh, she also has a pet rat named Nicodemus, who I named after Nicodemus from The Secret of Nim. And I got some custom content stuff, so I got her, like, an onion couch, because, I don't know, she's into gardening and conservation and whatever, so I just wanted to give her some kind of plant-related stuff. I don't know, but, yeah, at some point, if anyone's interested, I can, well, actually, here's the thing about the Polaroid wall, is she has friends that she has pictures with, but again, they're townies, so they're gonna be deleted, so, like, some of the stuff on the Polaroid wall is gonna have to be redone, and I feel like in that video, I can show you all of the Polaroids that I already have. But here I decided to give them a bit of a backyard. I gave them a pool, because they had one, even though, like, no one really used it, except happily now they're using it, which is great. And I also gave them, what the frick? I gave Sophia her little garden. So I don't know. Yeah. But this kind of, like, style of video is, I think I've talked about it before, where, like, I didn't know how to kind of start my YouTube channel, and I was thinking about being like, here are all of the Sims that I've already made, but I realized that literally just by the fact that I'm making a save file, now you've gotten to know the Russo family, because I've moved them into a new house that I've built, and so it's like, now you know who they are, and instead of doing a whole video on here's what I've already done, you'll see what I've already done, based on me, like, doing more, if that makes sense. Like, this is an example of what I've been talking about, you know? But this is, well, never mind, I didn't keep showing you. I don't know if I actually got all the plants in this video, but I did put plants in every planter. I gave her some oversized crop things at the back, and some regular planters, and then I gave her some of the little planters, which I saved specifically for, like, herbs. So I don't know, her garden is very thought out, and it's all useful for, like, things that they'd actually, like, cook with and whatever, so, like, I'm not growing stuff like flowers or plantains or whatever, because they're never actually gonna, like, be doing that, you know? Anyways, so, last thing I did is I went and made Victor and Theodore's house, which was very quickly, because unlike the Russo kind of family house out in Windenburg, I really liked Victor and Theodore's house. Like, completely everything about it. The layout is perfect. All that. So I just decided to quite literally put their house down and then just change what the outside looked like. That's all I did. So yeah, and I did have to kind of redo the backyard for it. But yeah. So is it kind of cheating? A little bit, not fully my house. Yeah, but it's okay. The layout was good. What can I say? So, I don't know. I don't feel like I have that much else to say. I do have 4 minutes left, and I'm pretty sure in this video I show you Victor and Theodore. Oh, I did place, like, the kind of shell of their house, I think? I don't know why the basement didn't, like, work, but I had to redo the basement stairs for whatever reason. I think there was an issue with the platforms there because I raised up the ground floor. I needed to also raise up the basement so that the stairs would fit, but their house is very cool. Cool is not the word, very cute, and it's like blue themed on the inside, and I like it, and it's great. And that's the first house back in Windenburg, and I guess now that I've actually properly, like, finished completely, where, like, I'm done adding stuff to this house until, like, people age up and then have certain friends or whatever, now I just had to move Victor and Theodore into their new house. But yeah, Theodore's room, I feel like I didn't properly show it in this video. I'm not entirely sure, but it's like the best room I've ever made. I'm so obsessed with it. It's so perfect. Here they are in cast. So this is Victor. Hey! Gym rat. He's very buff, very cool. He has tattoos. He has a heart tattoo, and then he has these butterflies that to me kind of represent like his family, because there's 4 butterflies, so it's like his parents, his sister, and Theodore. And then here's Theodore, you know, classic little nerd outfit. He looks a lot like his mom, in case you're wondering why he kind of looks different from the rest of his family. He looks a lot like his mom, which again, I didn't show her in this video, but there are family photos of her around the house. I did have to go through and sell a bunch of random stuff in their inventory that I don't know why it was in there. What I think happened is when I like had them move into this house, I had it be unfurnished, and so I think all of the furnishings might have just gone into their household inventory. But then I moved some of their backyard stuff, which again I had to downsize. So like I had originally at this house, because they had a bigger yard, I had like monkey bars and a swing set and all that, which I ended up getting rid of because I do want to redo the parks and stuff, and I just felt like, to be honest, kids don't have monkey bars at their house. They might have a swing set, like one of those like wooden ones, not like a metal nice one, but I just felt like, again, I'm trying to be a little bit more realistic, and especially when we think on their budget, like, obviously now they have money because Victor's like a Hall of Famer, but the whole point is the house is supposed to be small and homey. They're kind of supposed to be humble. I don't know. Whatever, but I moved them into their house, and then I just put some of their things back. So I don't think I put Ileana's grave on their property, because originally at their old house I had it under a tree so that it wasn't just out in the open, because I just don't want them having a grave just like sitting there. So I think at some point I'm gonna make a graveyard, and that's where I will put it. So I think she's still just in their household inventory at the moment. But yeah, cute little backyard where they have friends and stuff hang out. I didn't end up showing like kind of the details of Theodore's room, so I can definitely do that at some point, because again, I'm gonna have to redo some of his pictures with like Mariko and Elsa, because Elsa is no longer gonna be a sim. But that is the end of this video. So again, I did the restaurant, the kind of family home, and then Victor and Theodore's little house as well. So yeah, I will see you next week with, hopefully, a gameplay video. But yeah, that's also the lore on the Russo family. Bye.